Okay, firstly again, welcome to the school of NPSC and NSSP. Today, again, we are here to discuss the topic known as the Chief Secretary. Right, Chief Secretary, as an NCS, as an elite service, if you join as a secretary assistant, you will find the Chief Secretary. You will find his office, the state secretariat. So you will come across this person most of the time because now every administrative department in the state secretariat functions under the control and directions of the chief secretary. So I will discuss an office known as the chief secretary. Remember, Chief Secretary is an IS officer. Okay, remember, Chief Secretary is an IS officer and he or she is the head of the state secretary in every Indian state. Remember, Chief Secretary is the senior-most IS officer from that particular state cadre, chosen by the Chief Minister. Okay, the Chief Minister will choose the Chief Secretary from among the states. But to become to be a chief secretary, you have to break UPSC exam, not the NPSC. No, you will never become the chief secretary if you are an EAC. No, you have to break UPSC, then become a chief secretary one day. So this office is like a staff agency again. Okay, so why do we have a chief secretary when we have a chief minister? Because we all know the chief minister is especially he is an elected, so he won't have much qualification. Yes, might be socially, economically, politically, culturally, he is not qualified. So the chief secretary is there to assist him. So the first powers and function of a chief secretary is chief advisor to the CM. The first powers of the chief secretary is the chief secretary is the chief advisor to the chief minister on all important issues. On all important issues. It is the chief minister. It is the chief minister who will ask the chief secretary anytime, every time, anytime on all important issues. See, suppose the chief minister wants to introduce a new schemes or a project or might be a new policies in the state of Nagaland. Firstly, the chief minister will consult the chief secretary because chief secretary is intellectual qualified. He is a person who cracked the UPSC exam. So on all important issue, you have the chief minister will consult the chief secretary. That's the reason we have a chief secretary to act as a chief advisor to the chief minister on all important issues. We have a chief secretary. Too important. Without chief secretary, the chief minister cannot function. No, chief secretary, chief minister. Our real is might be he is not that much qualified, unqualified to be an administrator, right? So he will ask the chief secretary on all the important issues before he approves the policies in the cabinet meetings. So this is too important. Second is crisis manager and chief coordinator. The chief secretary is the chief coordinator in crisis in manager. This is often asked in basic exam. What is this? What is this? Crisis manager means whenever there is conflicts in the state of Nagaland. Take the example. We have a communal violence. The Simas are fighting with the Angabis, or might be the Lotas are fighting with the Aus, or might be COVID-19 is coming again. COVID-19, or might be earthquake, floods, natural disaster and all. In this kind of a situation, it is the chief secretary who comes and rescue you from that particular problem. The chief secretary acts as a crisis manager, which means he will every time try to solve the issues whenever there is a problem in anywhere in the state. And next thing, as a chief coordinator. Chief coordinator means there are around might be 75 departments in the state of Nagaland. Almost in Nagaland, we have 75 departments, approximate. So there, obviously, there will have a conflicts. Might be industry department having a conflict with the RT department, or might be the agriculture department is having a problem with the education department on a very important issues. The chief secretary will come and try to solve the issues through peaceful manner. Okay, so he will every time act as a chief coordinator, or else the state will end up in a paralyzed. That means the state will end up in a failure. No schemes, no projects, no policy will be implemented in the field work without the chief coordinator, without the coordination of the chief secretary. So every time, see, ask the secretary to the cabinet again. We have 12 ministers, including the CM. Along with the real, our chief ministers, altogether we have the 12 ministers. So every time, chief secretary acts as a secretary to all the cabinet minister, which shows that the chief secretary will advise the minister on all important issues. Every minister he will try to counsel, he will try to coordinate, he will try to formulate a good policy for the state. Every time he will advise, act as a secretary to the minister. Okay, make the laws in this way, make the laws in this way. Project, you make it this way. Schemes, these people should get. So see, every time I act as a secretary, or else see, we all know the ministers are not that qualified. But this chief secretary, a skillful, qualified, intellectual, experienced, great NPSC exam, so almost he knows everything. So every time the ministers will have to consult this person, the chief secretary. So they will work together. And next is as the head of the civil service. Yes, the most important what I'm talking here. Now you break NPSC exam, right? You are going to be an ESC, might be a DSP, might be a BDO, inspector and all. Firstly, you have to maintain a good relationship with the chief secretary because the posting, transfer, promotions, all is done, consulted by the chief secretary. The chief secretary is going to be consulted when as a political head of the service, the chief minister will consult the chief secretary every time. So if you have a bad relationship with the chief secretary, your promotions, your transfer, this and all, it will be affected. So once you crack the NPSC exam, because the chief secretary is the head of the civil service, you have to maintain a good relationship with this person so that we will all work in good conditions. We will all work for the people in general. Okay, so this is too important. Next is ask the head of a certain department. Yes, I said there are around 75 departments in the state of Nagaland, right? So see, every minister will hold at least 2-3 portfolios. But sometimes some portfolios might not be given to any minister. So in this case, it will be given to the chief secretary. Too wonderful, right? You have never won an election, but the chief secretary, the chief minister of Nagaland, Rio said, no, this is the department you hold personally. So the chief minister will allow the portfolio to the chief secretary. It's an important department. So you will also have an opportunity sometime, very much possible. So you are doing more. First is you are chief advisor to the CM, which is the head of the state, really head of the state. You are every time you have to advise, you have to give important advice to the CM on all important issues. Next is you are the head of the civil service, which means every civil servant, the secretary is general. That is why you are known as the chief secretary. Every department there is an administrative head known as the secretary. Above the secretary, there is only one person. It is you, the chief secretary. All the departments, you are the head. You are the head. So you are too powerful. So you have a very important role to play in the state administration. The entire state administration works under your control and direction. So if you are too skillful, you will bring a change. But when we have a weak chief secretary, no, the state will never go forward. Or the CM, the chief minister is unskillful. He is not that powerful. He is not that just like doesn't have much power. And chief secretary is also not that powerful. The state is never going to move forward. So remember, chief secretary job is too important. As a crisis manager, as a secretary to the cabinet, as a crisis manager, as a chief coordinator, as the head of the civil service, and as the head of the certain department, as a chief advisor to the CM on all important issues. Anytime, every time. The chief minister will consult you, the minister will consult you. So once you be the chief secretary, you have a huge role to play. The law and order, the administration, the project, the schemes, the policies, it has to ensure that it is implemented in the right time. So it is the duty of the chief secretary. So this office is too important. And remember, every state, in every Indian state, there will be a chief secretary, which will assist the CM in the administration of law and justice. So this is too important. We will stop here for today. And this is the last topic for public administration. And tomorrow, I will discuss the Right to Information Act and Central Administrative Tribunals. There is one law, known as the Central Administrative Tribunal. So tomorrow, we'll discuss it. Thanks a lot, boss.